So welcome everybody to this Learning and Teaching Forum. I begin today by acknowledging the traditional custodians of all the different lands on which we meet today and pay my respects to elders past and present. This is our third and final Learning and Teaching Forum for 2022, so it's great that you're all able to join in. Today we're looking at looking into designing and delivering connected learning for future success. And this topic was suggested by Dr. Spice Wang, who most of us know very well. But for any new staff who maybe don't know, Spice is an e-learning lecturer at HELI, the Higher Education Leadership Institute, and she's an expert on all things digital education, educational design and development, and enhancing the learning experience. And prior to working at HELI, she worked at APIC as the head of digital learning. So most of us here, I think, have worked with Spice. And today she's going to explore some of the concepts with us, some concepts with us that some of us maybe haven't really delved into before, including intended design and connected learning, and how we can better understand our learners and how they apply what they're learning to their work and to their life. And Spice is going to showcase some examples from her unit and also do a really great mapping activity with us. And Dr. Mohammed Khalifa is our co-presenter today. So Mohammed is our Director of Studies at ECA College of Health Sciences, and he's going to walk through what he's noticed about some of the gaps between study and work, and present some career progress domains as a bit of a framework that we can all use to reflect on our own work with our learners in our own units. So some really interesting stuff coming up. There will be times for discussion and interaction and Q&A, but please feel free to also contribute in the chat box too. And without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to Spice.
Thank you, Michelle, for the lovely introduction. And I also want to thank you, Professor Ian Rouse, for the invitation for this presentation, and Michelle for making this happening. And I also want to thank Mohammed and Samia and Dr. John Reed for the great discussion along the way. So here, I'm going to present something that I on the one hand, I introduced the HELI course and what we do here, and also want to reflect a little bit about what I have learned along the way. Let me share my screen. So the topic we choose here today is the connected learning design and delivery. We decided to have a concept. Michelle, and me, and Mohammed and Samia, and along the way we had a couple of discussions regarding what are we going to present that all our staff can take away to apply in their context, regardless of discipline. So we decided to have concept learning. But why concept learning? I have summarized 4 principles here, which are the cultivating innovators and professionals and critical thinkers, and also prepare for future skills and graduate employability, and inspire and motivate learners, and also make the learning meaningful and engaging. And I'm sure all of you would find this is very familiar to you, because this is not only for higher education, not only for the course that we're delivering here at HELI or CHS, it actually applied for everybody or at all level as educator if we deliver a high quality of education, even for the K-12 education. So I'm going to present a little bit more about what does it mean in higher education and how we do to achieve that. The connected learning look like connection. So as what you can see in the picture here is saying learning is all about connection. I found this picture is very meaningful to me, because as a learning designer, educator along the way, I found learning is more about connection with what we have learned, what we want to do in the future, and we connect with the past, the present, and the future. We connect with people, we connect with knowledge, we connect with all the difficult concepts. All of these are connected. So the course design, learning experience design, and the assessment help us to make that connection and happening. Before I unpack more, I have also summarized the way we are doing at HELI, how we achieve the connected learning, which is including the intended learning outcome, constructive alignment, and up-to-date and interactive learning materials. I think the first three are very familiar with you as well. And I understand many of you have done a graduate certificate of higher education course as well. And in that course, you would have practiced a lot about constructive alignment, how you connect all your course learning outcome and subject outcome together, and how you connect all of that with your learning materials and activity together. And we do that as well because our learners would need to be a professional in the future to be able to do this very well and teach others to do. So we do this, embed this with our course, and also provide some interactive learning materials. And you do this as well. I know APIC and CH staff, you have developed and heavily involved with developing the course materials in the learning management system, the Canvas, which are similar. I will show some examples how what does it look like in our course. And the fourth one is the connected past and present and future, which I explained just now, and I will show them more why I say that, and because this can include how you connect the past, the present, and future as an educator, because you show people your challenge in the success in your career, in your study, and in your understanding of the future workplace requirement. And you should also connect this with your learners' future, past, and present. Who are they? Where they're from? What they want to do? What their expectation? And how you prepare them for your future. So all of these are provided by many opportunities for our learners, and also building the learning community with our learners. And when we talk about lots of learners, but who are our learners? Because we APIC CHS and HELI we have very different disciplines and learners. So I would think they are from very different background and cohort, and and your expertise are very different from what we do here. So I'm trying to just put a little context here, so you can take away something that you think is relevant to you in the future, but and not consider those that you feel is not relevant. So here is a bit context for HELI. The learners of HELI are the students who are studying graduate certificate of higher education, academic practice, and a Master of E-Learning course, and also including the nested courses, including the graduate certificate and graduate diploma courses in e-learning. And also we have learners from people who just want to do a short course, 6-week short course with us on a course review. This course is hosted with the peer review portal, and student will get a certificate after finish the short course to be a certified course review expert here. And our course have a combination of international and domestic students, which give us a lot of good experiences, but also challenges how to bring all these concepts and theory and design, all our goodwills together to inspire them, because they're from very different background. So in the next few slides, I will unpack a little bit more with example here, and I'll just and a little bit more about our learners here. This is a very typical student persona, and this is our one of typical of our Master of E-Learning student, who is international student, adult, a mother of a 7-year-old, and she had Master of Education from other universities in early childhood, and she wanted to continue her education because she wanted to learn more about how to teach online with good quality, and she also wanted to learn more about how to use technology well in her small business in children's musical education. So but she found learning is very challenging, but also satisfied as well. Satisfied in a way that she learned a lot of way to teach online in a very innovative way, but challenged because she found sometimes can't balance the life challenge and work and family, all this together with her study, which is probably familiar to you, and you students have the similar time poor challenge here. Another student is our graduate certificate student who was a school teacher, head of this department of higher education provider. And he wanted to learn more about course design and a good practice of digital transformation in terms of online delivery. And he also maybe want to start a small business in e-learning consulting. And both of these students, the two students in Master of e-learning and graduate certificate student, are telling us they have learned a lot along the way, and they gained more satisfaction and confidence in terms of what they're going to do. But of course, there's some challenges for them as well, which is the most thing is the time challenge. So how can we motivate our learners and to make sure the time poor students and time poor educators, we connect together in a better way? I think I don't have a direct answer for that, but we are trying. Hopefully you can try it your way as well. I will stop a little bit here and want to ask to do a little bit reflection. On the screen, there's a QR code. So this QR code is a little reflective activity, according to your experience as a teacher, lecturer, educator, or even a learning advisor or support, because we all supporting students and staff in terms of teaching and learning. So reflect from your own experiences. So what do you think you feel good? When do you think you feel good? So I'm presenting the results, see what we coming out. I think this is all the trigger for me, so I put all here. And there are many more you can add. Okay, I think this you got the idea. I think there's probably no more answers coming in. I think what's that the top one, top two, or top three? Attend the class, understand what we teach, and show positive learning attitude. They are the basic things. Of course, we have to make sure they at least attend the class and understand what talking. That's for sure. And I want to show you what I feel. Let me stop share. Go back to my slides. I share my slides. This is example that how I feel. I feel good about teaching. Here is a little bit reflection of myself. I feel very inspired and motivated when I see students apply what they have learned in the work or in life, because that make me feel that as a learning designer educator, the things that I will put together is useful and meaningful, and I feel that I can add some value to what they do. So this, I think, many of you are teacher or teacher at heart. This you would agree with me. That's really powerful for me. Just this is example of the student, one of the student reflection they wrote in one of the assessment or engagement assessment. He is a business founder in Indonesia in a education tutoring business, and he was telling us how much he has learned with us and apply that into his business, including the science of learning and including how to use Canvas and design innovative course for staff training, the tutor training, and how he can apply this into his connect with the subject expert to inspire them, which is when I see this type of comments, I'm sure John would have the similar experiences. I feel very empowered. We often see lots of this kind of feedback that they feel they can take away something from what we do and apply them into to their work. So this is my reflection, and I have summarized some principles of connected learning. It's not me summarized, but I feel this summary this summary is very relevant to what we do. This is some summary actually from the University of Sydney Business Co-Design Research Group, but I found this is the best description of what we do. And the principle of connected learning, principle 1 is information engagement, and principle 2 is connected participation and active learning, and principle 3 is relevant, authentic assessment and feed forward. I will show some examples in our learning management system, which is Canvas, how these 3 principles are applied in our course. And I'm sure you will find that very familiar with what you do as well. Let me stop here and share another screen. So what I'm going to share now is our learning management system. And some of you have seen that, some of you maybe haven't. So this is one of the subjects, and this is the whole subject. I understand CHS, APIC, and HELI have a very different, not very different, a little different learning design style in terms of homepage and the module. But I think the rationale and philosophy are similar, because we want to provide consistent learning experiences for teaching staff and the students, and also we want to provide a structured course for our students. So the consistent design for HELI is the consistent homepage like this, the banner and introduction of the learner. We also have a module with structured module with the overview module and weekly content module. CHS and APIC all have this, and at the HELI, also CHS and APIC will have this. At the HELI, we have a module with an overview page and 3 subtopics of each week. On the overview page, we have lots of description about what is covered in this week and what are the learning outcomes, what are the key concepts. And then we ask learners go to the 3 subtopics of each week, and each subtopics is a page like what you have at CHS and APIC. And we also have a prescribed reading page and a reference page and a discussion forum page. Let me share with you example of why do I mean the information engagement. That's a principle 1. I think what I have just talked is information engagement, but because this what all we have provided here, constant structured information, that's the information engagement. Plus we have subtopics like this. This is one of the subtopics of week 2, and on the page we have some information to get people through in terms of what they need to do this week, and also include some interactive activity here for them to contribute, and this is also connected with the next week content. So this is the example of our engagement in terms of information. I want to also show you the principle 2 example, which is active participation and active learning. Let me share another course. Okay, so as you can see, the homepage is the same with this subject as well, and we have the same structure of module and the discussion forum quite engaging, particularly for this subject, because it has a few graduate certificate students and a few Master of E-Learning students that we are combining together, because HELI, as you know, HELI is growing, it's small, and we don't have many student numbers, but we have lots of good students. We try to combine them together. It is sometimes it is good, but sometimes it's challenging, because I need to consider both of their very different level of knowledge, professional knowledge and background. Luckily, these 2 cohort students have got this term for this subject. They are very engaging. For example, this is the students from graduate certificate. They are putting lots of discussion and also responding to each other. For example, this one. This is our graduate certificates course learners responding of a Master of E-Learning students post, which is very good and keep me busy and make me feel happy. They are engaged. As also you can see, if you want to click week 1 discussion forum as well, which is similar. They've put lots of words, which is lots of effort. This, as you can see, this discussion forum is not even graded. They are just a part of the learning engagement process, but they are quite quite engaging because they put lots of word and picture and respond to each other's and feedback, which is good. So
that's amazing, Spice. I've never seen a discussion forum go off like that.
Yeah, I personally, I constantly get inspired. Sometimes I feel time poor, but when I see this, I have to respond something because they spend lots of time there. So I think this is a true way of motivation. They motivate me as well. As what I see this as an active participation. And another example, let me show things about our assignment. This is one assignment. Maybe this is not a good example, but I want to share here because this assessment has a different type of assessment. I consider them innovative assessment because they connect with what students have learned and what we want them to learn and demonstrate in the future. But they also require quite a bit of student effort input because not all students are ready to do some maybe a little challenge to do some type of e-portfolio type of assessment as Dr. John found. The example here I want to show, the reason I want to show here because the diverse of assessment here, what you can see, we have learner engagement, which is including graded and non-graded discussion. We also have a case study. The case study is relevant to what they need to do in the future as a e-learning or digital learning professional. We also have a reflective journal e-portfolio, which they are required to write something every week, or not only write, they input something multiple. They can also put multiple media stuff in terms of their reflection there. We also ask them to do a reflective video presentation. I'll just click this. The case study, as you can see, this is, I consider is relevant because our students will be either leading or practicing e-learning in either education or corporate industry. So they will need to be able to lead the e-learning project. So this case study give them opportunity to reflect what they need to do to lead a good transformative learning project post the COVID. So this is, students found it's difficult maybe and challenging, but I think in the end, after they finish the study, they will feel lots of connection to the real industry needs. Another final example of our assessment I want to share with you is another subject that we ask students to do, to make a product of e-learning product. And some students decided to create a website, and some students decided to create a mobile app. And this is what you can see from the screen is the student present their mobile app that she developed for a childcare setting, and she wants to propose this for the childcare that she's working, and she developed the prototype and using some of the tools that we practiced at the workshop, which is amazing to me because they use what they have learned and to apply that at work again. Okay, so I share this student example of learning management example, which showed the connected learning at scale. What I put at scale here is because it is not just the course that I showed that I was teaching or design. It's a strategy that we can use at institute, a college level. We can make it happen at a college level at scale. As you can see, the information engagement is connect with the learning design, course design, the learning management system, assessment design, or participation, active learning, all relevant to the course design delivery as well. It can be at scale at this stage, I think. I will stop share the talk about the examples and the theory and reflection. I want to do a little more activity with you guys, which is another reflection activity. Here is we did a reflection from our teacher's perspective, which is reflect when do we feel good. Now let's do a little reflection on how do you think the students feel good? How do you think the students feel and what they do, what they think. And so this reflection is based on the theory that I think you all know, because many of you are teaching business and project management. We need to understand people's perspectives and put ourselves into others' shoes. Borrowing this idea into the course design and teaching, which is if we want to design and deliver an interesting learning moment, you have to see the world through the learner's eyes. This looks like it's very common sense and common practice, but according to my experiences, it's not easy thing. It's a challenging thing. We think we are doing this, but in practice we sometimes forget about others, forget about other people's needs. So, but I found there's a good way to start to practice that, which is using the empathy and the learner mapping. What you can see on the screen is the approach and also a concept, which is for us to map out the user and the learner's needs, what they think, what they say, what they feel, and what they do. And in the end, we will have a map like this.
Today, we are talking about designing and delivering for connected learning for future success. So at CHS, this is the content of today. Okay, I have a John. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'll be talking about the gap and why there is a gap, and then the intended design and the mode of delivery, assessment approaches, and then two examples, one of them about health data analysis and the other about developing frameworks for, let's say, strategic KPIs for improving healthcare. And then I will talk a little about the 6 career progress domains from my experience and my perspective. Okay. So is there a gap? Yes, there is a gap. Always there is a gap between knowledge and application of that knowledge, between gained areas of knowledge and awareness, and between professional skills in practicing. The gap is most noticeable when graduates find themselves in a difficult situation to get a job or struggling while on the job, especially at the beginning of their career or at the beginning of their career shift. Like, for example, the Master of Health Management, we are qualifying candidates to move from the clinician perspective into the health manager perspective, which is a significant shift in their careers. This is why we are very focused on how to close the gap, how to reduce the gap between what they learn and what they can actually implement and use immediately when they are in the job. So why there is a gap? Sometimes because of the professional skills are not perfect for these candidates. Sometimes they lack sufficient academic knowledge. For many years, teaching and learning have focused on adding knowledge more than adding professional skills. Some students are able to acquire professional skills while studying for the knowledge, but other students are not able to acquire that kind of skills. They will be able only to acquire the theoretical knowledge. Therefore, it is essential to incorporate professional skills within the academic programs, such as the Master of Health Management. So in terms of the intended design, the Master of Health Management is designed in a comprehensive way that provides the students with diverse types of resources to learn from, including basically, just like Spice mentioned, the Canvas design itself. I will not go through the Canvas in details because Spice already covered almost the same thing for APIC and HELI. So the program, for example, at CHS is designed mainly around a real-life management scenarios, case studies, and so on, which I think is motivating students to ask their own questions, which happens a lot frequently in our workshops. Each of the students will ask their own perspective questions or relevant to their own perspectives. We have dentists, we have pharmacists, we have nurses, we have public health professionals. So each one of them would ask based on the same case study, but different questions from their own perspectives. This is what makes these life or real life case studies very valuable. These represents most of the teaching lectures, practice workshops, and assessment activities. All of them are built around these case studies. Now on Canvas, as Spice showed, we can find that the program also at CHS supported by academic skills unit, academic referencing unit, academic integrity unit, and student support services, both academic and non-academic. All of that is in Canvas at CHS, replicated from APIC as well. And then, sorry, my icons here are not clear. I don't know why, what happened, but here I'm talking about the blended learning, including face-to-face, on campus, as well as online. Online includes synchronized as well as Canvas. So we have almost 3 modes of delivery, face-to-face, plus online, plus Canvas as a reference for all types of activities. Now, for the Canvas includes weekly modules and topics under each modules, introductory texts, lecture notes, lecture videos, extra readings, extra YouTube videos for each topic, discussion boards for each module to exchange ideas, perspectives, and experiences, plus self-assessment quizzes to evaluate learning, which helps the students to revise what they have learned before they go to the workshops. And then in the workshops, they start practicing on what they have acquired in terms of knowledge and skills. For example, root cause analysis, critical reviews of a paper, a group of papers, and so on. This diversity of resources, we believe, should help students to grasp the knowledge as well as acquire the skills. So this is just a screenshot. I will not go into the Canvas in details, but here we have, for example, the self-assessment quiz, and then the workshops. All of these come after the different topics within each module. And then we have a summary, further readings for the students who would like to explore more into the topics. We are not expecting that every student will be reading these further readings, but for certain students, they have certain interests in their own areas. For example, if they are public health and we are teaching epidemiology and statistics, they might like to go into the further readings of this topic because it touches on their own perspective and background. Then the face-to-face activities, teaching the students how the knowledge can be implemented and how to acquire the knowledge from the resources. The face-to-face is also more than just transferring the knowledge. It also transfers the experience and sometimes the skills. So we share with the students during our workshops, especially when they are face-to-face, it's easier to share our own experiences as healthcare professionals, our own stories when we were working in hospitals, when we were managing health services, what kind of challenges do we have, how to explore these challenges, how to suggest or design or recommend certain strategies based on evidence to improve healthcare and overcome these identified challenges, such as delays in healthcare provision, in emergency departments, in turnaround time of laboratory, radiology, reports, and so on, both strategic and operational levels. And then comes the role of the assessments, because the assessments are usually designed through like critical reviews of literature, published evidence, case studies, root cause analysis, analysis of case studies, or designing plans, designing new KPIs for services and improvement strategies as well. So all these types of assessments should help students to apply what they learn from the PowerPoint, from the slides, from the lectures, into something more practical and tangible in terms of identifying what are the challenges, the problems, and then designing the solutions to overcome these challenges. One example here, health data analysis. In Unit 9, for example, we have most of the assignments but at least one of them. But I think two of the assignments are about data analysis, health data analysis, generating and conducting statistics. This is the unit called the Health Statistics, Epidemiology, and Critical Analysis. So one of these assignments include a set of 50 patients, a real data set, which is approved for use, provided to the students, and then they are requested to use descriptive and inferential statistical analysis to find out some statistical significant differences between hospital departments, hospital groups of patients, and more importantly than what they are doing or how they are doing it is why we are doing this. So, you know, maybe 50 years ago, the focus was about what to do, and then the know-how developed over the last maybe 30 years. Now it's more important to focus on why we are doing this in the first place before thinking of how or what. We should know why we are doing this. So this is a screenshot with some statistical questions in the assignment. So here you can see, for example, the gender, the age, the weight, the height, and then the body mass index. They should be calculating the body mass index, admission date, discharge date in the hospital, and then they should be calculating the length of stay and the adjusted length of stay. And we have hospital-acquired infections, yes or no. So one of the questions, for example, is, are males and females significantly different in terms of their age in this specific sample, in terms of their height, length of stay, or even body mass index? For example, is the body mass index correlated in any way to the age or to the gender? Is the surgery, as you see, surgery and medicine departments, is any one of them is different from the other in terms of length of stay, or, for example, hospital-acquired infections? And is there any statistical significance, and what and how that can be interpreted? For example, we could say, give you one example, is that patients in the medicine department are older than patients in the surgery department, which can be interpreted by the fact that, based on evidence, of course, which is included also in the extra readings and resources, is that people get more chronic diseases with age and more accidents if they are younger. So they need more surgeries when they are younger and need more medical treatment when they are older. Is there any significant difference between males and females, between those who stay for a short period of time? For example, is the hospital-acquired infection relevant in any way? Is there any correlation with the length of stay? Does that mean longer length of stay in hospitals means more probability of getting hospital-acquired infections or not? So we don't just teach them how to conduct the statistics, but more importantly, why we do this test, why specifically we are doing this test, and what are we looking for, and then how we are interpreting this kind of tests. Here, the health management levels, aspects, and dimensions. I have published this in one of my previous papers a few years ago. So we have different levels of management in healthcare management, strategic and tactical and operational. And then we have different aspects like safety, effectiveness, efficiency, timeliness, patient-centeredness, and equity. And then we have dimensions like structures, processes, and outcomes. So we are teaching the students during their studies how to think of strategic levels, how to think of operational levels, how to design KPIs to improve safety, how to design KPIs that can monitor effectiveness or efficiency, and so on, and then how to create more KPIs related to the outcomes or processes if the defect is within the processes or if the problems are related more to the structures of the healthcare systems. So this is another model that we are teaching them how to follow, and then they can come up with new ideas about developing KPIs and acquiring the skills into real life examples. And then from that point, they can immediately implement what they have learned into their workplace. And we are integrating as well with their own workplace in the meantime, because most of the students, they do work, and many of them, they work in healthcare, not in restaurants, not in for example, shopping centers, but they work in aged care, they work in nursing homes, they work in dental labs, and so on. Now, the last section of this presentation is about the 6 career progress domains, which I believe that should start with, as a basic foundation, should start with learning and gaining of knowledge. And then from that point, we can help the students to discover their own talents, because not everyone is talented in mathematics or planning or managing resources. Every one of us have their own, let's say, preferred or more skilled at. And then from that point, students can grow their professional experiences and improve their professional skills. From that point, they can acquire a lifelong attitude, positive attitude towards learning, and then they can develop their own vision for a long life learning experience. So each one of these domains, here I'm mentioning more details about the awareness and knowledge, which is more about the facts and being familiar with objective situations, objects and situations, which usually includes also professional experiences. And these facts are different from opinions and impressions. Knowledge should always be evidence-based, up-to-date knowledge, papers. We are teaching them how to use papers, how to use evidence, published evidence, to make decisions or build or develop their own experience and their own strategies. Theoretically, knowledge is easier than other skills or experiences to be transferred. Discovering the talents, as I mentioned, people are different. So some people are more talented in organizing things. Other people are more talented in operational skills. People, sometimes they like doing things by their own hands. Other people would like more to plan and then delegate different tasks to different people. Again, talent is not transferable. However, it can be developed and sharpened. Growing the experience grows over years of practice, and experience builds significantly on both knowledge and talents together. Experience is mostly transferable, but most probably at the workplace rather than in the class. This is why we are trying to support the classes, support the workshops with real-life examples, real-life case studies, as well as our own experiences in healthcare. However, an experienced educator can transfer their experience through good practical examples and delivering that to their students, as we are doing that. Okay, I have some questions, aged care. Okay, I will leave the questions to the end. Improving the skills are related to how well someone is doing something, and then skills that start from talents, improved by knowledge, and get polished by experience. Practice makes perfect, practice makes progress as well. Skills are diverse, but should be integrated and utilized for the same goals and objectives. So this is why we teach students that there are certain domains within the healthcare. So healthcare management includes quality, safety, effectiveness, efficiency, information management, people management, change management. So some people might find themselves more talented and skilled in certain domain of these. Then they can work, let's say, in health informatics as a subdomain of health management. And I guess the same applies to APIC and HELI, because each of the disciplines include different domains within each of these, slightly different from healthcare, of course, but similar in terms of preferences and classification of skills. Let's call them skill set or sets of skills, sets of preferences, experiences, backgrounds, and so on. All of these should work together in a harmony, guided by a kind of attitude and vision. This is why I'm talking about attitude. The attitude, usually a positive attitude, is the fuel for success. Many large organizations, as we always read, like the late Steve Jobs, like Elon Musk, and all of these entrepreneurs, they say that they hire for attitude rather than hiring for knowledge or skills, because knowledge can be acquired and skills can be also acquired, but attitude is something very intrinsic, and it drives everything else. It drives the success. So a positive attitude is closely related to more like consistency, discipline, and commitment. So this is how a positive attitude can lead the success in light of a kind of, let's say, good vision, clear vision, which can guide the success, fueled by attitude, supported by knowledge, supported by talent, experience, and skills. So a good and clear vision tells you as a candidate, tells our candidates when they are about to do good or deviate from their pursued path or intended goals. A good and clear vision should be transferred or translated into, as we all say, smart objectives, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, smaller objectives that can help them to achieve their own vision. So I guess now I covered all the points of my presentation, and it's now time for questions. Thank you.